I started at AOL at Digital City in this local media business. And at the time, what we did not have were the tools that existed today and the efforts to be able to socially market your site and have technology that's available to different writers. So we, at the time, used newspapers and traditional media as our media. As today, we know from Forrester reports that people trust their peers more than they do the media. And we have hired 67,000 writers on a contract basis and are growing to provide stories. We have the largest local, originally generated article base in the world today on a local level.
There's all this talk about the role of newspapers and what you guys are doing or what Patch is doing, what Demand Media is doing. How has the ecosystem changed, and what's your role in this new ecosystem?
Well, I think you got to segment all those. The newspapers, as we had discussed earlier, I think their role, and I came from that business, were to be the watchdog and teacher conscious of the community. So they had a role to play. They would find out stories or do investigative reporting that would be beneficial to folks. One in particular, I can give you an example. When I was with Knight Ridder, the Boulder Daily Camera ran a story on mineral rights that were owned by another company underneath an entire subdivision. There's a lot of talk today about the Daily Me News. I would have never known to have picked that out as something I should be concerned about. And that's the newspaper's role. That's not a role we're trying to fill. We try to be trusted, accurate, and complete about what's going on in the local towns and cities in the United States. On the Demand Media side, they do something that we don't do, which is they look at their articles that they require for their e-house site or for their customers, take a look at the CPM that's available to that, and they have an algorithm that says these are the best kinds of stories. And then they shoot out requests to their writers or their videographers to submit articles based on that particular subject, which will bring in more revenue. We, on the other hand, to be trusted, accurate, and complete at Examiner.com, we have to cover areas that aren't as profitable as others in order to have a complete product for people to come and read.
Tell us a little about how you organize the areas that you cover by staffing, geography. How does it work?
Well, what we did was we started out with a few cities and to get the
cities
concept
meaning
down.
Big cities? Or?
Yeah, we started, I think, with Denver, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Washington. Mm-hmm. And that was just a proof of concept. And then we immediately put our fence around all of North America. We have 233 cities that we cover in the United States and 5 in Canada. And we have 2 national editions. So if you can imagine, we're going in at the local level. We're recruiting we get about 9,000 applications every month. We vet each of those applications and we accept about 40% of the people who apply. Patch is looking at this in a different way, going in from what they call the hyper-local basis, and appears to be writing. They appear to be writing local stories, and they have other providers that provide stories as well. And those articles, you could think about. We came at the local level first, and we're going to organically grow. New York, we have about 2,000 writers or examiners. We have a young lady who covers bicycling in New York, who's a former New York bureau chief. She just likes to bicycle. And we cover at a higher level. We believe we can grow to the hyper-local from an organic level. We probably have about 200 people in Brooklyn, for example, that are already writing about other things. When we decide that it's beneficial for us to go deeper into the community, we'll reach out to those people and ask them to write about different topics closer to home, in addition to writing about New York.
How do you pay them? How does that work?
We have a black box algorithm that we use that takes into consideration the page views, the amount of unique visitors, how well these examiners share their content amongst the social sites. And in addition to that, we take into consideration quality and other things. That algorithm changes from day to day. In addition, we pay a spiff for the local stories. That's higher than what we would pay for national because that's what our company's about.
Cool. And how do people find the content?
Well, about 15% of the people come directly to examiner.com through a bookmark or typed bookmark or just coming from a link from email that they sent. We send 120,000 alerts out where people have requested 120,000 alerts each day where people have requested that alert concerning a specific examiner. And then the remainder of the folks come from social networks and search engines.
What's the role of video, if any, and how could video be part of this?
Well, right today we have video on the site, but not much. We plan to add video, and I think these smartphones have really enhanced the ability for us to be able to do that. In December or January, we plan to launch an email to post program for our examiners, which will allow them to upload video directly to the site or pictures to the site that will be geolocated as well, and then add their story at the same time. This last month, we had 22,400,000 visitors to the site and generated almost 70 million page views. And those are our internal Omniture numbers. We have 67,000 examiners who create 3,000 stories a day, so about 100,000 a month. In the coming year, we are going to concentrate more on mobile. We have plans to launch additional cities. I think the first one actually is going to happen this December. We're going to add Springfield as a test city. We have just launched a new platform which allows us to create a community where examiners can interact with the readers. And we see that as a big plus for us as well. And this year, we've beefed up our sales staff and have started to really create the revenue from all the testing and the models that we created this past year and a half.
Yeah. So briefly, how does that work?
Well, there's three distinct ways to get our advertising revenue. One is from the national transactional, which is the banners that you see across the board. Another is Examiner Connect, which is a new and different way for national advertisers to be connected with our examiners who then are connected, who have a large social sphere and are connected throughout the internet. Let me give you an example. Each examiner has people who follow them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter, and we provide them tools to automatically post these things on Facebook and Twitter. They also have people that follow them on other social sites as well, and we encourage them to post there. We have actually 40-some courses in our Examiner University that teach folks, how to write the headlines, better writing of headlines, or how to write in the third person for some of the bloggers out there who have been writing in the first person for quite some time. The other piece of revenue would be Examiner Connect, which allows the advertiser to not only have advertising on our site, but to take advantage of the examiner's social sphere of influence and get their message out through this entire social sphere. Now, to be certain, folks usually ask, do your examiners shill for these people? They do not. It's not something we want them to do, and that's not something the advertisers want. They want original content, and that's what they get. The third piece of this is, of course, local. Now, we have a $140 billion local market that is the grand prize, and that I think all of us, Patch included, are looking to emphasize. And in that case, we've done quite a bit of research and knocked on doors and figured out what kind of packages that we have, and that we could sell. So it takes a 4-call sell to sell a $100 package to the local tavern. That's too much time. We have to do a 1-call sell in a case like that. We've developed those packages, and now those are sold for us by local.com and Reach Local, who have salespeople all over the United States. And in addition, we reach out to other folks as well to do tests. And most recently, Living Social has become our premier couponing advertiser on the site, and that that, I think they understood the value that we brought from a local basis, and we understand the value that they bring because it's local coupons as well. So we're very excited about that. And as we continue, we'll continue with these processes. We've just beefed up our national sales team. I think I mentioned that earlier. And those folks will be taking on selling more of the Examiner Connect, while our local advertising is done by a third party and self-serve.